This video is a development recap of my submission for Miz Jam 1. The theme for this jam is you can only use graphics from the Kenney 1-bit pack. These graphics seem best suited for a top-down adventure game like Ultima or Zelda, so I decided not to make a game so obvious like that. While thinking of ideas for a 3D game, I figured sprites would need to be billboarded like they are in Doom. However, in Doom, sprites had multiple frames for a 360-degree view. That's when the flying saucer graphic caught my attention, as it looks mostly symmetric and would be seen basically the same way from all angles. I might have been subconsciously influenced by the recent Nintendo GigaLeak, including the source code for Super Mario Kart, but I think the idea of making a game like it had been an intention of mine for some time. Online I found a picture of the floor of the first track in Super Mario Kart. Using it to texture a large ground plane would save me the time of having to design a good yet simple track, and I would know right away if I was making something that looked and felt like the original. I created a kart with the flying saucer graphic and allowed a player to make it move forward and steer left or right. I added another kart, but it just sat there. I attempted to set up a navigation system in Godot, but quickly realized that the path through a track would need to be directional. I couldn't just tell a kart to go to the finish line after it had already crossed it, because it would have just wanted to go backwards. I set up a small set of waypoints around the track that more or less represented the ideal path through it. I added logic where an AI kart would always accelerate. It would also steer left or right until it was directly facing its current waypoint. Once it got near a waypoint, it would then begin traveling to the next waypoint, and so on. This worked okay, but karts would sometimes get lost if they missed their waypoint due to driving fast but turning too slowly. I thought it'd be effective to put in logic to make a kart move towards its next waypoint if it started moving away from its current one. That improved things, but it still was rough. An easy patch was to increase the distance where a waypoint was considered reached. It worked well for most cases, but I knew it would need to be improved in the future as things got more complicated. I added coins and exclamation mark boxes as things that karts could run into and pick up. I started replacing elements in the Mario Kart track with graphics from the Kenney pack. I removed the coins and question mark boxes. I used a graphic as a brush to trace over the outline of the original track. I made the block wall borders use a similar graphic. I added a new ground color and added a starry sky. I found an excellent 2D car physics tutorial by Kids Can Code and adapted it to 3D. From it I added acceleration, friction, drag, braking, reversing, and traction to karts. I added a split screen with the third-person perspective on top and an overhead view on the bottom, similar to how it is in Super Mario Kart. I added a starting light sequence where karts can't move until after every light is on. I made the border walls 3D and prevented karts from moving through them. I added win and lose conditions, and then proceeded to switch its text to use the font from the asset pack. I applied a different color palette to all the graphics. I added a race timer. I gave karts an engine looping sound where its pitch is scaled by each kart's velocity. I added coin pickup sounds and animations, and after an amount of time, coins will respawn. I improved the appearance of karts by giving them a black outline, making their dome white and blue and transparent, as well as putting a driver inside. I added two long dark blocks which give the appearance of wheels or tracks. They also serve as a good indication of direction. Similar to Super Mario Kart, coins picked up by a kart will increase its engine power. However, I intentionally made their impact more significant than the original game. I then added a title screen. It just moves and angles each camera to the sky, slowly rotating them for a cheap but nice effect. I made driving off-road increase friction, slowing karts down. With the use of a raycast, AI karts will slow down if they are going too fast and getting too close to the edge of the road. As I was often losing track, I added a lap display number. Because it didn't make sense for outer space flying saucers, I changed the coins to gems and then animated their color like how it's done in Super Mario Bros. I added a cinematic transition between the title screen and start of a race. During this transition, some simple instructions are given. I figure most people know how to play Mario Kart, and this saves me some time. It felt like I had already spent most of the 48 hours allotted for this game jam, and I wasn't going to be able to add all the features I had originally intended. I had to scrap the exclamation boxes and any power-ups they might contain. It was now a functioning game, but it was missing something. Because carts traveled on the same path, the only carts getting coins were the human player and the AI cart that was in front. I needed to get carts to try and collect coins. With coins increasing the speed of carts, buggy AI caused them to get stuck in corners when they drove too fast. This AI was way too fragile to consider adding coin hunting. I improved cart AI by comparing the distance between a cart and its current waypoint to the distance between that waypoint and the next waypoint. This improvement provided a better indication of whether a cart had surpassed its waypoint. Now I could confidently add coin hunting. A cart will travel to the nearest coin with the following conditions. It must be roughly in front of a cart, and it must be closer to a cart's current waypoint than the cart. The game comes alive and is fun and competitive now that each cart is collecting coins. I was satisfied with the game and I was ready to submit. It was fun to recreate a game from my childhood, and making a racing game is an exercise I think all aspiring game developers should try. I will put a link to this game in this video's show notes for you to play, as well as its source code for people to study.